watching Vibes of India, and I'm Nandini. With me is Tushar Gandhi, great grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. Tushar, welcome to Vibes of India.
Thank you, Nandini, and
Today
my
on
greetings to all your viewers.
Yeah, thank you. So today on 1st of April 2025, the Supreme Court has dismissed his public interest litigation that had challenged Gujarat High Court's order in connection with the Sabarmati Ashram, which is being redeveloped at a cost of 1,200 crore rupees. Uh, the Supreme Court observed that Tushar Gandhi was a bit late by 2 or more years. In filing the public interest litigation. Tushar bhai, Tushar bhai, what is your first reaction?
Well, Nandini, I wish it was an April Fool joke on me, 1st April. Unfortunately, it isn't. And I am disappointed, but I am not disheartened. I am very determined to fight on. I'll have to read the Supreme Court order to find out what they have rejected my plea, due to what they have rejected my plea, and whether they have left me any kind of a opening to continue my fight against the Supreme Court, so
Hmm.
against the redevelopment of Sabarmati Ashram. So I'm waiting
Okay.
for the order to be given to me, and then after studying it in consultancy with my legal team, I will decide on what to do next. But I am determined to fight on because the the verbal news that I got seems to suggest that if there is any breach of the High Court order, then I have uh, my right to challenge that and bring it to the notice of the court remains inviolate. That Supreme Court has given me some kind of a uh, foot in the door kind of a thing, and I'm very determined to exploit that. And henceforth, I will put the Sabarmati redevelopment project under a microscope and keep a watch to see whether, because already Nandini, when uh, uh, in the last 2 years or 2.25 years since the High Court order, um the High Court had said that it had to be kept brief and information made easily available. And that hasn't happened because after the order of the High Court, we have not heard about anything. Even after the assurance that they would make some kind of a plan of their intentions public, they haven't done that. They haven't even informed the trustees who are their
Okay.
allies. I can understand that they don't inform me because they feel that I will create nuisance. But the trustees who have bent over backwards to accommodate them, they have not even informed the trustees about what they are going to do. The only thing they keep saying is that they will preserve the core of the ashram, and that core has also been shrinking from 50. The 120 acres in Bapu's time, it came down to 55 acres. Then it came down to 5 acres. Then it came down to 1.5 acres. I think well, one fine day, by the time the project is over, it might be just the area on which Hriday Kund stands, and everything else will be changed.
Right.
So there are a lot of inconsistencies, and I think if I study it carefully, I'm sure I will be able to spot violations. And I'm just waiting to do that. As I told you, I'm just waiting for the order, and then I'll
Okay.
pounce again.
Okay. But Tushar bhai, the government has already committed in the Gujarat High Court that it is not going to alter the main buildings, including the Hriday Kunj. Okay. So this is being designed by Bimal Patel, the architect who has designed Central Vista and is the man behind many of the pet
And
projects
the
of
atrocious,
Prime
the
Minister Narendra
atrocious
Modi.
new, and the atrocious new parliament.
Yeah. So, but the government has already said that it is not going to alter those buildings. So then why worry?
Well, if you cover those buildings with a wall of gold, then people are never going to be able to see what actually means. And Nandini, when you must remember, Sabarmati Ashram is not just a memorial or monument; it is a living proof of this the value of simplicity that Bapu led in his life, it shows when people go there, just the frugality of the ashram brings it up and close to them of how simple Bapu's life was. And
Mhm.
that, if you don't keep that atmosphere, if you're going to build a five-star complex around it and turn it into an amusement park for the
Mhm.
public, time and again the government had said, we want to build a food plaza, we want to build a parking lot and things. Yes, build a parking lot, build a food plaza, but is the ashram important, or is the food plaza going to be important? What is going to be the attraction? What is going to be the focus? And that's where this whole argument that we will not touch the core buildings, we'll keep them as they are and things. Initially, they had said we are going to take it back to the 1947 level. We will recreate the ashram the way it was in 1947. Does that mean that they intend to demolish the international award-winning architecture of Charles Korea, the museum and photo gallery over there? Because these people are vandals. They don't care about heritage. They've done that. You see what they did in the Varanasi corridor. You see what they've done to Jallianwala Bagh. They are they are not bothered about the sanctity of heritage, the sanctity of a bequest kind of thing. Unfortunately, the trustees also have betrayed that bequest and the responsibility that was put on their shoulders and capitulated to the government. But these are the things that their promises sound hollow. What is
Okay.
stopping them? Right from the beginning, one question that everybody asked, not just me, but everybody asked was, show us what you're going to do. And they haven't even shown that to the trustees. The trustees also are not aware that what will be the final look of what they are going to do. And the architect is such a blue-eyed boy of Mr. Modi that he's going to only listen to what the orders that come from the PMO, no matter whether it's a state government project or things. The orders are coming from the PMO, and that is what is going to be finally the outcome of Sabarmati Ashram. And these
Okay.
dictatorial tendencies are what are worrying.
Okay. Those following Gandhian ideology. Did you write to the state government, or were you invited by the state government to give suggestions?
No, I don't think they would have ever done that because they knew from day one my stand on the whole thing. I have been raising my voice against this for the past almost 5 years since
Yeah.
the knowledge of this project became public. I've objected to the way it is being done, and so I'm sure they knew what I would write to them, and so they haven't bothered to ask any of us. They haven't even bothered to ask any of the other family members who are respected historians and uh, uh, holders of the Gandhian legacy. So I and I don't I will not communicate with this government either in the center or in the state.
Tushar, what is the reason that there is not much opposition to the project? You have raised your voice in no uncertain terms, but there are maybe probably two, three more Gandhians, or there was one letter that was shot out with signatures of some 50 Gandhians, and thereafter nobody is talking about it. And even the ones who stayed on the campus, initially, they did make some noise, probably to get some good money or an alternative piece of construction so that they could have a better life. But now nobody seems to be talking about it.
Yeah, you see, my involvement in the whole issue was because initially the residents were very apprehensive, and thrice when I visited Sabarmati during that time, they all came in a delegation and they almost besieged me over there, asking me, requesting me to save them and they save their properties. But then the government used the carrot and stick policy and dangled uh, incentives that they could not resist, and so many of them left. There are still pockets who are resisting that, but they are being subjected to a lot of threats and strong arm tactics also, and so they have left. They've, people, basically people, the basic habit of a human or any life form is self-preservation. And so when they see that they're getting something out of this, none of them owned that place. They just, their right over there was of a tenant. Oh, I agree that they've been staying there for many generations, but
Right.
legally speaking, they did not have any ownership rights. And that also is something that the court has not taken into cognizance, although I have pointed it out that the government had
Correct.
no ownership rights. It was a trust that
Okay.
owned a thing. And so if the trust was to uh, get into a deal with the tenants and vacate them, then the charity commissioner should have come into play, because a charitable trust is not allowed to dispose of its property or get into financial transactions without the charity commissioner's permission. That has not been done, and now something that belonged to the several trusts, the Harijan Sevak Sangh, if we take Bapu's will to be sacrosanct, then the Harijan Sevak Sangh owned those tenements. By
Okay.
making a third party right, the government has paid off the tenants, and I'm sure they're going to say that we paid them off, so the vacated property comes to us. That again breaches the rights of the trusts, and the charity commissioner should have come into the picture. So the courts
Okay.
also have not actually applied their minds to all the legal shortfalls in the government's action. Unfortunately, since I am the only one, everybody now sees me as a nuisance and does not want to give me the time of the day. But even if I am a nuisance, I don't mind being a nuisance for the cause that I believe in, and I
Okay.
will keep fighting.
Lakhs of visitors come to Sabarmati Ashram, and once it is redeveloped, the numbers are going to increase manifold. Won't it be good enough to propagate Gandhi's ideology?
Nandini man, as a chief minister, Narendra Modi tried to build a rival museum and a monument in Gandhinagar and called it Mahatma Mandir and filled it with all the gizmos and razzmatazz and things. And just tell me how many visitors go to Gandhinagar to see the Mahatma Mandir? If you compare between visitors to the Mahatma Mandir and visitors to the plain, simple, shabby Sabarmati Ashram, there will be no comparison in the numbers.
True.
And that itself proves that it is not the razzmatazz that attracts the people, but it is the spiritual experience that they get of the Gandhian ideology at Sabarmati Ashram when they come to Hriday Kunj, the peace that they experience is what
Right.
matters, and that does not require a five-star treatment.
Okay. Okay. Correct. Uh, Tushar bhai, thank you very much for joining Vibes of India and sharing your views on Sabarmati Ashram redevelopment and how the Supreme Court has rejected your petition. Uh, Keep watching Vibes of India. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nandini. Thank you for giving my voice a space to be heard.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure.